And the voice said, "They have given you the sacred pipe and the power that is peace and the good red day." The bay neighed, and the 12 sorrels stood behind me 4 abreast. My horse now faced the buckskins of the south, and a voice said, "They have given you the sacred stick and your nation's hoop and the yellow day, and in the center of the hoop you shall set the stick and make it grow into a shielding tree and bloom." The bay neighed, and the 12 buckskins came and stood behind me 4 abreast. Then I knew that there were riders on all the horses from behind me. And a voice said, "Now you shall walk the black road with these, and as you walk, all the nations that have roots or legs or wings shall fear you." So I started riding toward the east down the fearful road. Behind me came the horsebacks 4 abreast, the blacks, the whites, the sorrels, and the buckskins. And far away above the fearful road, the daybreak star was shining very dim. I looked below me where the earth was silent in a sick green light, and saw the hills look up afraid, and the grasses on the hills and all the animals, and everywhere about me were the cries of frightened birds and sounds of fleeing wings. I was the chief of all the heavens riding there, and when I looked behind me, all the 12 black horses reared and plunged and thundered, and their manes and tails were whirling hail, and their nostrils snorted lightning. And when I looked below again, I saw the slant hail falling in the long, sharp rain, and where we passed, the trees bowed low, and all the hills were dim. Now the earth was bright again as we rode. I could see the hills, and the valleys and the creeks and the rivers passing under. We came above a place where there were streams, made a big one, a source of mighty waters, and something terrible was there. Flames were rising from the waters, and in the flames a blue man lived. The dust was floating all about him in the air. The grass was short and withered. The trees were wilting. 2-legged and 4-legged beings lay there thin and panting, and wings too weak to fly. Then the black horse riders shouted, "Hook-a-hey!" and charged down upon the blue man, but were driven back. And the white troop shouted, charging, and was beaten. Then the red troop and the yellow. And when each had failed, they all cried together, "Eagle wing stretches, hurry!" And all the world was filled with voices of all kinds that cheered me, so I charged. I had the cup of water in one hand, and in the other was the bow that turned into a spear as a bay, and I swooped down, and the spear's head was sharp lightning. It stabbed the blue man's heart, and as it struck I could hear the thunder rolling, and many voices that cried, "Unhe," meaning I had killed. The flames died. The trees and grasses were not withered anymore and murmured happily together, and every living being cried in gladness with whatever voice it had. Then the 4 troops of horsemen charged down and struck the dead body of the blue man, counting coup, and suddenly it was only a harmless turtle. You see, I had been riding with the storm clouds, and had come to earth as rain, and it was drought that I had killed with the power that the 6 grandfathers gave me. So we were riding on the earth now, down along the river flowing full from the source of waters, and soon I saw ahead the circled village of a people in the valley. And a voice said, "Behold a nation, it is yours. Make haste, eagle wing stretches." I entered the village riding with the 4 horse troops behind me, the blacks, the whites, the sorrels, and the buckskins, and the place was filled with moaning and with mourning for the dead. The wind was blowing from the south like fever, and when I looked around I saw that in nearly every teepee the women and the children and the men lay dying with the dead. So I rode around the circle of the village, looking in upon the sick and the dead, and I felt like crying as I rode. But when I looked behind me, All the women and the children and the men were getting up and coming forth with happy faces. And a voice said, "Behold, they have given you the center of the nation's hoop to make it live." So I rode to the center of the village with the horse troops in the quarters round about me, and there the people gathered, and the voice said, "Give them now the flowering stick that they may flourish, and the sacred pipe that they may know the power that is peace, and the wing of the white giant that they may have endurance and face all winds with courage." So I took the bright red stick, and at the center of the nation's hoop I thrust it in the earth. As it touched the earth, it leapt mightily in my hand, and was a wagachun, the rustling tree, very tall and full of leafy branches and all birds singing. And beneath it, all the animals were mingling with the people like relatives and making happy cries. The women raised their tremolo of joy, and the men shouted all together, "Here we shall rise, our children, and be as little chickens under the mother show wing." Then I heard the white wind blowing gently through the tree and singing there, and from the east the sacred pipe came flying on its eagle wings. It stopped before me, there beneath the tree, spreading deep peace around it. Then the daybreak star was rising, and a voice said, "It shall be a relative to them, and who shall see it shall see much more, for thence comes wisdom, and those who do not see it shall be dark." And all the people raised their faces to the east, and the star's lights fell upon them, and all the dogs barked loudly, and the horses whinnied. Then when the many little voices ceased, the great voice said, "Behold the circle of the nation's hoop, for it is holy, being endless. And thus all power shall be one power, and the people without end. Now they shall break camp and go forth upon the red road, and your grandfathers shall walk with them." So the people broke camp and took the good road with the white wing on their faces, and their order of their going was like this. First, the black horse riders with the cup of water, and the white horse riders with the white wing and the sacred herb, and the sorrel riders with the holy pipe, and the buckskins with the flowering stick. And after these, the little children and the youths and maidens followed in a band. Second, came the tribe's 4 chieftains, and their band was all young men and women. Third, the nation's 4 advisors leading men and women, neither young nor old. Fourth, the old men hobbling with their canes and looking to the earth. Fifth, old women hobbling with their canes and looking to the earth. Sixth, myself all alone upon the bay with the bow and arrows that the first grandfather gave me. But I was not the last, for when I looked behind me, there were ghosts of people like a trailing fog as far as I could see. Grandfathers of grandfathers and grandmothers of grandmothers without number. And over these, a great voice, the voice that was the South, lived, and I could feel it silent. And as we went, the voice behind me said, "Behold, a good nation walking in a sacred manner in a good land." Then I looked up and saw that there were 4 suns ahead, and there were generations I should know. Now we were on the first ascent, and all the land was green. And as the long line climbed, all the old men and women raised their hands, palms forward to the far sky yonder, and began to croon a song together, and the sky ahead was filled with clouds of baby faces.